Hello and welcome back to Face It, presented by Fayette County Public Schools in the 16th District PTA. We want to remind you that during this challenging time, we believe that it's better to face it together. Face It is a show that is created for a shared space and time, as well as allowing virtual interaction and discussing relevant topics that are happening right now in real time, and that's at the forefront of all of our minds.
Yes, this is a time for us as a family and a community to engage together and support each other. Face It is a platform for real talk, real relationships, and real ways for us to express how we are feeling.
Absolutely. My name is Melody Westerfield, and I'm the Family and Community Engagement Liaison at William Wells Brown Elementary School.
And hi, I am Vita Stewart, the District Family and Community Engagement Liaison. Today's topic will focus on facing a different summer together, which includes conversations surrounding the details of our Summer Bridge program, frequently asked IT questions, and a need to know information for families who are preparing their children for kindergarten and may have early childhood education questions. And we're so excited to have a few guests with us. Ms. Stevenson and Mr. Moore, would you please introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yes, I'm Whitney Stevenson. I'm the Associate Director for Early Childhood for Fayette County Schools.
And I am Bob Moore. I am the Director of Technology for Fayette County Schools.
Hello, you all. We also have Title I Associate Director with us, Mendy Mills. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be here with you. My name is Mendy Mills, and like Melody said, I am the Associate Director of Title I. But also this summer, I guess I'm the Summer Bridge go-to guru, planner, all that good stuff.
Okay, well, let's see what we can drag out of you, Mendy. Okay, so Mendy, this is going to be for you. Can you please provide an overview of what the summer looks like, especially particularly the Summer Bridge program?
Absolutely. So obviously, we all are facing a different summer than we typically have. And our summer think tank came together a few weeks ago and decided we need to continue to provide some learning for our students in Fayette County. So we put together the Summer Bridge program. We all wish that we could have students in our buildings and in our schools to do a typical summer program where they could interact with teachers and interact with each other, but that's just not possible right now. So we feel like we've pulled off a pretty great alternative, and it's called the Summer Bridge, which is open to all preschool through 8th grade students that were already enrolled in Fayette County schools. And Melody, if you will remind me, there is a little caveat of new students that are not enrolled, and I'll address that before we get off here today.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to have our helper here is going to pull up the website for us that talks about Summer Bridge. And we want all of our parents and all of our families to understand that Summer Bridge is actually open to every student preschool through 8th grade. Some students have been contacted, some families have been contacted by your teachers to participate, but we want every student to be engaged with the platform. So we have partnered with a online platform called Imagine Learning, and students will have access to Imagine Language and Literacy, Imagine Math platform, so that they can continue learning at their own pace throughout the summer. So if you'll scroll up there for me, there's the different programs that they can be involved with. And all of this is right on our district website. So when you go to the home page, on the left-hand side, you can just click there where it says The Buzz, I think is what it's called, and it will take you right to this web page. And if you go on down, all of our students have access to what we call their Clever account. So if you keep going there, Miranda, right there, you'll see where it says sign-in instructions and Clever login. So that is the process that students need to go through to get onto Imagine Learning. They are already rostered. We know we have a lot of kids that were doing Imagine Learning during NTI or before school was even out, so they will just pick up right where they left off. And so that's kind of where we are, and that's where we are with Summer Bridge. And you see there that we do have some students that will have some encouragement and support from teachers. If you're one of those kids, your school should have already reached out to you and put you with a teacher on their Google Classroom and everything. And it really is set to kick off on Monday, the 22nd. But your students can go ahead and be on the Imagine Learning platforms now.
Mendy, that was a lot of information. I thank you for that. It's awesome information.
Absolutely. I know you addressed, who can participate. You said preschool through 8th grade students who were already enrolled in Fayette County. So what support services will be available to students during this summer bridge? Things like mental health services, referral systems. What can they expect to receive through supports in this program?
Well, throughout the summer bridge time, just like as I already mentioned, we have lots and lots of kids that will have time with a teacher throughout the summer bridge. And if you feel like that you have not been reached out to and you feel like your student would qualify to have support for a teacher, go to that web page, and at the bottom of the page is my email address. Send me an email, make a phone call, and we'll try to make that happen. So other supports like Ms. Stewart was asking about, we do have some district mental health specialists that are on call. So if you have a concern, that link also will be on this Summer Bridge webpage that you can request services. You don't even have to be doing Summer Bridge. So it will be on our webpage at other places, I feel like, as well, if you have needs from a district mental health specialist. Our teachers in Summer Bridge will have a process also of requesting services if they're working with kids and they feel like there's a need in that family. The other thing is all of our schools need to realize that our family resource directors, they work all summer. So if you have concerns and you have needs that you need support with, that is a good person to try to reach out to. And we have all that information on our school websites as well. And of course, as another big support, don't forget about our summer feeding. And that is also on the website of the days and the locations. I think it's mainly Monday and Wednesdays that they're distributing food this summer, but all the locations is everything can be found on our district website.
Thank you, Mendy. So we're gonna switch up a little bit. Whitney, I'm sorry. I'm coming straight for you. Still nervous there? I'm coming straight for you now, okay?
Good.
Okay, so switching it up to early childhood education. Whitney, would you please tell us how our families can register for kindergarten, what that window looks like?
Yes, and before I share that, I do want to say when we talk about the summer bridge being for preschool students, it's for the 4-year-olds that are transitioning to kindergarten that previously were in the state-funded preschool program. The 3-year-olds still have access to Imagine Learning and can engage in that because they were given that access before school ended. So we have had a few questions about that. So as far as kindergarten registration goes, it is available online to families, and they visit fcps.net/registration. And then from that website, it gives you all the information. The first link is enroll in kindergarten. That you can go there and apply for preschool if you've not applied for preschool yet. So all of the information needed is right there at the website. So there are documents that are required, and these are listed right here, the requirements. So right now, since schools aren't open, what the guidance that I have been given is that when schools do open later in the summer, that they will contact the families who have registered at their school and ask them to bring in the documents by appointment only. Right now, that's the direction. And we know things change right now since we're in this pandemic, but right now that's the guidance that would be given. So if they have registered and done the online registration form, the school would have received that information and then can reach out to the family later this summer.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Ms. Stevenson, digging a little deeper, what advice would you give to a family to help prepare them for the transition from preschool to kindergarten? As a parent, I remember, having all that anxiety when my little one was going from preschool to what they thought was, the term big school. So what advice could you give us for that transition?
So as I think about this, and typically in years past, the piece would be visit the school, see if you can call and get a tour, go to the summer, the summer camp that they may have. But because we're in a different time this summer, the transition is going to be and feel a little bit different. I mean, families still have that anxiety, of what this is going to be, because this is my little one I'm sending off to school, especially in what we're facing right now, not knowing what the beginning of the school year would look like. But saying that, there's still, whether, whatever it looks like and how often your child comes to school in the fall and virtually, talk to them about meeting new friends and the fun that they're going to have learning, whether it is virtual or face-to-face. And then one of the biggest things is independence. We know that when kids come, because I have a lot of questions from families about, I don't think my kindergarten can carry their lunch tray. Like, I'm scared. And I think for families to practice that independence, let your child, go to the bathroom by themselves. Let them, manage all of those skills. Let them, clean up after themselves at mealtime. Let them practice in opening boxes and, a yogurt. Let them practice all of those skills so they can be independent when they do go to school and, following directions. Being able to listen and follow those directions and just being independent, those skills are just so important for our little ones, when they come. And of course, there'll be adults there to help guide and, love on them and show them what to do. But those are things that we can do around our house every day, is encourage independence and, following directions for our children.
Winnie, that's some good information, and thinking about that and watching the little ones hold their trays, and it's the cutest thing to witness. But that's real good information, is teaching that independence ahead of time. I really do like that information. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So because I know that I'm challenged when it comes to technology, I know I couldn't wait to talk to Bob, because I know that I need to know this information as well as anybody else. So with that said, where can our families, and me included, go to find our basic information about the IT world and support for IT, websites, YouTube's phone number, etc. Like, where can we go to find that information and find that help and that support?
Well, as a district, we have a few different places, and one of the things we try to do is really kind of integrate technology across the board. And so the page that Mendy showed a little while ago, which was fcps.net/summerbridge, there's a technical troubleshooting there, a link down towards the bottom. So if it's with something specific, like Imagine Learning, there are some links on those pages. Another page that we have that is kind of an all-encompassing page is, it's up here, right here, fcps.net/NTI. And that has a lot of information on it, just about NTI and digital learning in general. And so that's kind of our one-stop shop. That information changes just because of the way that the digital world works. And so that page gets updated on a regular basis. And that's a collaboration between several different groups, whether it's instructional technology or technical support, those kind of things. The other big thing that we have is our help desk. And this is for any family member, student that needs help with Fayette County technology. And so that number is also on the screen with me, 381-4410. We have technicians available from about 8 in the morning until about 6 o'clock in the evening through the summer. And they'll be able to help you with connection problems or Chromebooks or all kinds of things like that. That's also a place where we have parents go for some other resources. For example, for the food program, the SNAP program had an EBT card that was available, and folks needed their student's state ID number. If they need that type of information, they can call that help desk number as well to get some of that information. And if you don't know where to go to get technology help, go ahead and call that number, and they can submit a ticket for you to whether it's Parent Portal for IC stuff or something else, and they can kind of help you get to the right place. And so we have plenty of technicians that work that number. It'll be open all summer long, and even beyond that, as long as we have the NTI and the virtual learning going on.
Bob, let me just say, before you ask your question, Vita, let me just say how dope it is that you have this whole background that has all the information we would ever need. Like, who thought of it? You did. Of course, you're an IT guy. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Absolutely. And I know as a grandmother of students in Fayette County, I'll be using all those numbers and that website. So Mr. Moore, say I am a parent who needs technology support. How do I get a Chromebook for my child? And what if I have 3 children that need a Chromebook? Will all of my children get that Chromebook? Can you address this for us?
Sure, and this is a question that we've actually got a lot. The Chromebooks, we kind of looked at a couple different distribution methods. We looked at centralized distribution. We have been distributing through the schools. We looked at several areas around the district, and what we decided was that the best way for parents to get those devices is through their individual schools. And so if your child goes to Mill Creek, then you should contact Mill Creek and they'll be able to get you a device. If you have multiple children, you can get a device for each of your children. So if you have 3 children, you can get 3 Chromebooks. And we can work with you on that. If a school runs out of Chromebooks, we as a district can make sure that we kind of shift Chromebooks around. Currently, we have about 9,000 Chromebooks available. We've handed out about 20,000 Chromebooks so far, and we have about 9,000 available. So we have plenty available. So contact your school. If you can't get a hold of somebody at your school, because I know folks are in and out, you can call that 381-4410 number, and they'll get you in touch with the chief's office or someplace where we can get you help to get that device. Those devices are so important right now. They'll never be as important as a teacher. They'll never be as important as that connection that you have with your school, which is one of the reasons that we keep distributing through the schools. That's just one more way for our students to stay connected with the folks that they know and that care about them, and that the students are comfortable with. So.
What if your Chromebook is broken and it's not working? How can they go get help?
There are a couple ways you can get help. The easiest way, again, and you're going to hear this over and over and over from me, 381-4410. They can start the process to get that repaired. You can contact your school and swap that device out. But those are really the 2 main things, is that number, 381-4410, or contact the school and we can get that swapped out for you. What we don't want to do is have a student with a broken device that's waiting and waiting and waiting. And so we'll try to swap that out, give them a different device, and make sure that they're able to continue learning the best way that they can.
So what do they do when they come to you and say, when our families come to us and say, we don't have internet access, what can the district do to help? How can they possibly help families who don't have internet access?
So that was one of the things that we really have struggled with over years, actually. I've been working on this problem for about 7 years. And, whenever a district goes one-to-one, a lot of people think, oh, now everybody has the same access, but they don't. And really what we do is we take that inequity and push it from the school to the home, because then access to the internet becomes what is inequitable. And so earlier this spring, after we kind of got into the NTI and virtual learning, we partnered with AT&T and T-Mobile. And we are able to provide hotspots. We've provided almost 500 families with hotspots at this point. The hotspots are 1 per family, not 1 per student, because multiple devices can connect to those. The hotspot, the internet connection is still filtered just like it would be at school. So parents don't have to worry as much about their students going to inappropriate sites and things like that. And so, but what a family needs to do is contact their family resource center. And the Family Resource Center will arrange to pick up a hotspot from technology and get it to the family. That's another way that we really try to keep families connected, is through that Family Resource Center. Those folks are amazing and they've done so much work for our families. And so we can provide internet access, and we do that through the Family Resource Center to make sure that we're reaching the families that we need to reach. But that's where you would request those.
So I have one more question, Vita, one more question. So here's the thing, before I go into this question, Bob, you're like a superhero right now, because that is awesome work that you're doing. That's awesome work. So my last question. So what you have your families and you have your students, and it's been a long time and some forgetful minds. What are you doing, and what's the solution for when the parents come and say, my daughter and myself, we all have forgotten our email address and the password? What do they need to do? What can we do?
So 381-4410. We can verify the student's identity over the phone. And so when, a lot of times that's one of the things we worry about is, are we giving the information to the right student? And we'll ask you a couple questions about the child, but we've had third graders call, we've had grandmothers and grandparents call, we've had folks that are aunts and uncles or whatever it is. We can help you out. And so we can help you with passwords. We can help you with email addresses or how to log on and all kinds of things like that, and get you the resources you need so that the students can keep learning through the summer and into next school year. That number 381-4410 is kind of your all-encompassing phone number for technology help in the district right now. And like I said, if they can't help you immediately, they can find the person that can help you.
Well, it looks like need a shirt that's made up of 859-381. I personally know that I'm going to be on your list to call in when we come back to school, because, like I said, I'm challenged that way. So, Vita, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're fine. I just want to thank all of the panelists for today. You all have been a wealth of knowledge and all of the resources our families need. Thank you for providing that information. So for our final question, I want to ask each of our panelists to just offer some, in your area of expertise, offer some advice or encouragement to help our families, because we are all facing a different summer. And so we're doing this together. What advice or encouragement can each one of you? And we'll start with Ms. Stevenson and go to Mr. Moore and then to Ms. Mills.
First of all, I would say, because if you have young children, birth to 5, hang in there. You're not alone. And to remember that young children are naturally curious, and so they're going to get your attention one way or the other. And so if you can engage them, be creative with them, just take a few minutes, every day and talk about what they're interested in, play a game with them that they want to play, read to them, basically read, talk, play every day for some portion that you can with your children, because they're going to get you to engage with them one way or the other. So, if you can think through that and just be prepared for that, and just know that they are just, wanting to spend time and do some engaging activities with them, will just really help them, the young children, in their learning, and then also kind of following those directions and being independent and all of those things that we talked about. The other one, the other thing that I would like to suggest is, if you can, get outside as much as possible. Get their little bodies moving. If you can't get outside, play games inside, do jumping jacks, put on music and dance. Really and truly, young children need to move. And they're going to move, and they're going to be on the move. So anything that you can do to engage them like that, will really benefit them in their development and their learning. But yeah, just hang in there. And, young children are young children, and they're curious and they're busy, and that's what they're going to be during this time as well.
And I read a lot, and one of my favorite books is called Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And in that, they have a pretty key part of the book, and that is don't panic. And so that's one of my pieces of advice, especially when it comes to technology. I know not everybody is comfortable with it, but don't panic. It's things are going to work well a lot of the times, and sometimes they're not. And just take a deep breath, restart the computer, call 381-4410, and just, don't panic. Technology not working is not the end of the world. I've made a living at it for many, many years, because if it was always working, we wouldn't have folks like me. And so just don't panic, and just, understand that things will happen, and just move on. The other thing, and this is sometimes sounds weird from a technology guy, but get off the technology every once in a while. Like Whitney said, get your kids outside, get them doing something active. Sitting on a screen for 4, 6, 8 hours a day isn't good for anybody. Trust me, I know. I do it sometimes, and it's really not good. So take a break from the screen sometimes, and don't take a break and go watch TV. Don't take a break and get on the iPad. Take a break and go outside, or what else did you say? Do some jumping jacks or something like that. And especially those younger kids. The younger the kids are, the shorter amount of time they need to digest that technology, and they need to do it in little tiny chunks. And so take a break, get outside, and just have a little fun every once in a while that does not involve technology.
All right, well, see if I could come up with anything that hadn't already been said. Obviously, I've been talking about Summer Bridge, and we want as many kids as possible to be engaged with Imagine Learning, which is part of technology. But really and truly, one thing I didn't address is that your child will see some tremendous growth over the summer if they just do 15 to 20 minutes a day on Imagine Language and Literacy, and then maybe come back in the evening and do 15 or 20 minutes on Imagine Math. So you're not talking more than 30 or 40 minutes a day. We know they're spending that amount of time in front of a video game. Most of them are anyway. So encourage them to use the Imagine Learning platform, and it will help them bridge, which is why we called it Summer Bridge, into the next school year. And I got to agree with that. Get outside, just play, just have a good time at other times, and enjoy your family. And we know it's different. We know you can't go to the pool like you normally would, or do some of those things like normal, but you can still play outside and start hanging out with friends as the summer moves on, and just try to have some downtime and enjoy it with your family. I did mention earlier, and y'all forgive me, I'm going to add this in. If you have a new student that is not already enrolled in Fayette County, and so maybe it was an incoming kindergartner that was not in preschool, so they do not have access to Imagine Learning, go to that email at the bottom of that web page and email me, and we will get them access so that they can start using Imagine Learning for the summer. And we can also do that for some of our high school students. Imagine Learning does a great job of having a pathway to Algebra 1 or a pathway to geometry that they can start working on some of those concepts, and so for the summer. So go to that email and email me, and we'll do our best to make it happen for them.
Thank you all. It sounds like you all have all the information for our families, and we thank you all for all that wealth of knowledge and information. It sounds like to me that you are telling parents and families to give themselves grace during this difficult summer, and so we want to remind them at all times is to give yourself a break and give yourself a lot of grace, because we're figuring it out, and facing it together, hence the title of this show. So I want to thank you all for all the information. I really I love talking to you all this week on this week's Face It Chat. We want to stay connected with you and continue to build a stronger community of support for our families. Vita is going to tell us how we can do that as a whole.
Yes, send us your pictures, your videos, your words of encouragement that we can share with each other about how we are facing things at home. So go to faceit@fayette.kyschools.us. And on Fridays, we would like to highlight some of the messages that we receive to serve as encouragement and support for other families. Again, we're facing something different this different summer together. We also want to know what questions and what suggestions you have for us about today's topic. Again, you can email those questions to faceit@fayette.kyschools.us or text 859-903-5531. Again, that's 859-903-5531. Mr. Moore, I had to get my infomercial in there too. Thank you, guys.
I was just thinking like, oh, maybe we can call Bob. Again, everybody keep your calendars marked. Face It is going live next Thursday, June 25th. Of course, we are going live June 25th next Thursday at 6:30. And you don't want to miss this information live in this live interaction between our guest speakers. And so we can't wait to continue to stay connected with you. We'll see you all next week. Thank you. Goodbye.